Party buff.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to Party Buff. Today we are joined by CyberMessiah, who left the wonderful world of streaming to go off on his own adventures, and we would like to talk about life after the stream. Or life further down the river. I don't know, pick a title you like. But that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we once again have Az, Aussie, and the delightful CyberMessiah. Hello!
Hello.
Ooh.
Cyber's voice.
Cyber's back! Yay!
Hello.
For those of you who know Cyber, he was a streamer that was very familiar with this group and went off to go and travel the world of, I don't know yet, we're going to figure it out as we ask questions about him, but went off to go and do his own thing here, so now we're going to learn what life is like after the video streaming, after all the media. So I suppose the first question that everybody wants to know, particularly your viewers, is why? Why did you stop?
I'm just too busy for streaming nowadays. So I go to school, I work, and that doesn't leave a lot of time for content creation after that. I could probably do one stream a week or something like that. If I was to do it now, and that's just not up to the level that I would want it to be. Like the quality wouldn't be there, the commitment wouldn't be there, and so I decided rather than reducing my quality to a level below what I found acceptable, I decided to just take a break.
You know, Az and I were actually talking about this last night of just on top of like a full-time job, the time that you dedicate to streaming, if you do like any hobbies outside of that, like you don't have time left in the day, especially if you're, someone who is in a relationship like that, you obviously want some time set aside for that. So I definitely understand, with
Yes,
class, with work.
I think my wife would have been very upset if I continued to stream while working.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of time.
Do you ever go back and do you ever miss it? I'm sure you do, but is there a point where you're like, if there was some free time, would you ever think about hey, you know what, maybe I should start this up again? I know one stream a week isn't enough. I know, like I said, Aussie and I have talked about this last night. It's just if you're only streaming once a week, it kind of doesn't really match up. People are, it just wouldn't feel right. But Cyber, would you ever say if you had more time in the future, would you go back?
Yeah, I mean, streaming is super cool. I really enjoyed it. If I've said that once I finish school, if I find that I have time and the want to, and I might start streaming again. But that's still like 9 months away before I finish school, so it's a long time. Which
And 9 months goes by in a flash, dude.
I mean, yeah, but in the streaming world, 9 months is a very long time.
Oh yeah.
So
that was another thing we were talking about. I was earlier this year I moved and I didn't stream for maybe 3 weeks, and even just coming back after a couple weeks, I felt it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you can if you take a day off of one of your normal stream days, you can feel it. So yeah,
It's tough being a streamer, that's for sure.
yeah.
Do you feel like a YouTube video creation would be easier for you if you wanted to go that route, just because you don't have to set aside a preset schedule for you to be online? Like, you can record a video and then take your time to edit it and release it when you want. Is that some kind of media you'd think about moving to?
Yes and no. I mean, you're absolutely right. It would be easier because you wouldn't be set to some schedule. But the thing with YouTube is that you have to abide by the algorithm. So if you're not uploading at least a video a week, then you will not get your videos recommended. You will not do well, and so you're kind of set to that schedule of forcefully releasing a video every single week, which can be, pretty daunting. It can.
Yeah.
I just create some videos too. Yeah. Creating videos takes a long time for anybody out there looking to, for at least for me personally, it takes hours upon hours. And maybe when you get more familiar with it, I feel like it becomes a little easier, but you might as well be streaming at that point. It might as well just be another job once again. You hop from one, out of the frying pan kind of thing.
Yeah, like a single video can probably take 4 to 8 hours, depending on how much editing you do into it and kind of what kind of content you're making.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, I know like when you were streaming, you had a pretty good like crowd. I think you have what, like 4,500 followers, somewhere in that range. Like,
that sounds right-ish.
did you in your time streaming? I guess two questions I have. Like, how long did you stream? How long have you streamed for? I'm assuming like a couple of years.
I think it was just over 2 years I streamed.
Okay. And then my follow up to that, I guess, was like, did you take any long breaks during streaming, or were you just like 2 years flat out?
I think the longest break I took was a week.
Okay.
That's dedication.
Well, I took two. Well, because when I first started streaming, I took a vacation down to Mexico, and that was a week long. So I think I didn't stream for like a week and a half, and then I also moved, and I think I took streaming off for that week too. And I'm sure there's other days here and there that I took off as well. But yeah, for like the longest time, I think it was just 1 week.
Yeah, I think that's another tough aspect of streaming for me personally. Like you said, if you take like 1 day off of your normal schedule, like you're feeling it. It's like noticeable, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, because nobody checks your Twitter, nobody checks your Discord to see what your schedule is.
And then people are like,
Nobody-
"Hey, you weren't on the other day." I'm like, "Yep,
Yeah.
I wrote 10 things about it."
Yep. It's hard enough having people just scroll down into your bio to look
Yeah.
at your normal schedule. No.
Yeah.
People will just go to your channel and see you're not there, and they'll go find somebody else to watch.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Simple as that.
Even if you're like 25 minutes late or so, like 20, 30 minutes late, you're like, oh,
Yeah.
he's not here at this normal time, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it is like that is one thing I've found very difficult is even just like taking vacations. Like I'm almost hesitant to take a vacation because I'm like, oh, it's gonna like fuck up my schedule, So,
Yeah, it can be rough.
yeah. Like
I know
Shelby,
y'all are dedicated to your schedules. I'm on the other hand just like, am I feeling it today? Yay, nay. And I just go online and see if people want to show up or don't. And I mean, I try to stick with daytime because the majority of my viewers are European. And I am totally cool with that. It's like, all right, you guys want to enjoy your dinner, and while I'm over here streaming at like 11 o'clock in the morning, all right, let's do that then. So I stopped streaming at night so much because people really enjoyed watching me from Europe that they wanted to see me, but if I'm streaming at night, then they're going to be, it's like 3 in the morning. So I try to just go for the earlier schedule. But for people who are dedicated to their schedules, that's a really hard shift to make, to say, okay, guys, I'll be available when I'm available, and they're expecting you at a certain time. If you just advertise yourself right off the bat as, I'm here when I'm here, deal with it, then I feel like I'm lucky enough to have the viewers I have with that kind of view. But I also don't have nearly the follower setup that you did. And I think that just comes a lot from having a schedule and people can rely on you, just like a TV show, to be on at a certain time at a certain day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think that's, if you want to, I guess, be successful, I think that's a large portion of it is being on that hard set schedule.
Yeah. I've always kind of preached that too. Like in my head, I kind of always explain it to people. Think of it like Jeopardy or something, right? Like people who watch Jeopardy know that it's on like whatever weeknights at whatever time, and they go and watch it. If you were like, if they showed up, there's just like no Jeopardy. It would be like old people rioting in the streets,
Old people rioting.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've always viewed Twitch, right? Like if you're gonna have a schedule, if you're wanting that consistency, like you're committing, like, hey, I'm going to be here these times, these days. If the host of a show just doesn't show up for a day, like,
yeah, it's basically a second job, it's really, or maybe a first time job for some people, but it's really a job that if you really want to be successful, you have to commit to a time schedule.
Really, really poorly.
Yeah. But Cyber, like, now that you don't have the paparazzi following around anymore, you got like a little bit of a little bit of free time here now and there. How has your life changed? And if it hasn't changed, just make something up, like how you fight dragons in your free time or something like that.
Yeah, I'm still the same guy. Like I rather than going and rolling out of bed and setting up my stream and everything like that and going live, I just go drive to work.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exciting or anything like that. I do IT work now, and so like it's really not too different. It's just rather than streaming, I do work.
But
eh.
do you feel like has it been freed up for you? Like has your life been freed up in a way like you don't have that set schedule anymore, I guess, or like that block, of time that you have to dedicate to streaming? Like do you find that you have a little bit more free time or not really? Now that your job is taking over that
um
aspect.
I mean, as far as like the going live and streaming part, like that really didn't free up a lot because that time is now just spent working. But
Mhm.
like the late night working and like creating content, like the stuff that like people don't see, like creating up a new overlay, or
Oh
getting
yeah.
ready to do like a charity stream, or networking, trying to find people to make YouTube videos with, all that stuff that like people don't see, where I'm like, working, 4 hours plus after I've already streamed 5 hours, that I think has uh been the most change, because now I actually get to play video games rather than
Aussie and I were just talking about that.
Yeah.
rather than working. So I
Yeah,
don't
we were
know.
talking
That's
about like the difference of streaming video games and like playing video games for your own enjoyment. Because I remember when I first started streaming, I was like, "Oh, this is going to be great. I'm just going to have like an allotted time to play video games all the time. Like this is the dream." And then I started
yeah.
streaming, and I'm like, "Oh shit, that's not how it works."
I mean, it
I
can
mean,
be. We talked about that before. Is that it is completely possible to be the kind of streamer who just literally hits go live and says screw it to every other aspect of their. You can
Yeah.
absolutely be that person, and if that person is successful doing what they do, kudos, Godspeed, and give us your hints. But beyond that, it's like to make quality, just like you said, doing the overlay, doing the transitions, doing the editing, making sure that everything's clean and looks nice and has proper balance and everything else. I mean, you're talking to the person who sits here and fiddles pixel by pixel to make sure everything in my overlays is nice and clean and proper and looks good. So there is a lot more work to this than just like go live, play the game. You gotta set it up
Yeah.
and make it work and make it look decent. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yeah.
Why would people come in and watch you if you're not providing anything beyond just I plugged it in and turned it on?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably say like an hour a week just making sure that my music for stream was good. Like, and I don't think a lot of people realize like how much effort I put into just having good music for stream. Like,
Yeah, no, it's a lot of work that goes behind the scenes. I've always said that on our previous podcast, so people don't realize that just hitting a go live button doesn't mean anything. Like, if you actually want to be successful, there's so much that you have to do behind the scenes just to like make sure that people are entertained, people keep coming back, all kinds of stuff. So I can
Yeah.
totally like when you say you spend an hour on music, I can totally see that.
yeah.
Yep.
Going back to the playing games for a stream and playing games for yourself, though, I do miss like just being able to ask stream like, hey, who wants to play with me? Now trying to find people to play games with me is back to being a chore. Trying to I can't just ask chat if anybody wants to hop on and play video games. So that kind of sucks, but yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you played a lot of Dauntless. I think that's kind of how Az and I initially sort of met you. And I gotta say, for that game, like I played that game for a long time. I played it since it was in like alpha or beta stage. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
I would say like 99% of me playing it was just playing by myself until I started streaming it, where I almost like exclusively played it with people. I like rarely played it solo from that point forward. So it's definitely like a different dynamic of it kind of changes how you play a game. I think just how you approach different games or what you decide to play, even, right? Like you might look for something that you're able to play with friends as opposed to like a long single player story driven campaign sort of thing. So I think
Right, exactly.
streaming can definitely like dictate what you decide to put your time into.
I'm so picky with my groups on my games now that I like for playing online Overcooked. No, never again. Just because I'm not doing it the way you want me to do it doesn't mean I'm doing it wrong, random internet stranger. Just
I'm
God.
just gonna say, she played Overcooked online with us once. We've never been invited back.
Hey, to be fair,
also
I
very
know
true.
y'all, and
That's
you
very
guys are
true.
very busy. You guys are very, and I know
It's
y'all,
like,
but I'm
"Abs, why are
talking
you
about
throwing
like
hamburgers in the streets?"
Yeah.
some
Me playing
random,
Overcooked is-
like random
yeah.
pickups. What is it? I mean, you said you started playing World of Warcraft recently, and I think one of the worst things that ever happened in MMOs, at least according to most players, is, oh god, don't get me with a pug. And those of you who are unfamiliar, that stands for pickup group. And it just is a bunch of randoms because you don't know if they're going to be well behaved or not. And even on a game that I used to play with Aussie, I did a run called a Phoenix Valley run. It's some kind of like really quick based run, and I'm trying to do things, and this guy keeps pushing me because I'm the tank, and he's like, just go, and I'm like, no, we're new here. I'm not just gonna go. You have to wait.
Was the guy me?
No,
Yeah,
it was not
yeah,
you.
just-
This was a wizard. And they just kept pushing me. I was like, fine. And so I took off and I pulled everything, and he's like, I can take it. He couldn't take it. The whole party got wiped except for the cleric who ran. Smart cleric, right? Smart healer. And then he gets pissy and then rage quits. And I'm like, this is on you, honey bun. This is on you. So I totally get not being able to find players without, competent players, because your chat is most of the time filled with people who are either familiar with the game or are willing to learn and be a little bit more patient with the game, as opposed to just, I need a player.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely games and like game modes where like you want competent players. I think World of Warcraft is definitely one where you want competent players. But there's also been games where like I love like the chaos.
Yeah.
Like just having people like not know what to do is so much fun.
So speaking of that, like if you were to come back to stream, let's just say hypothetically you come back to stream, would you continue streaming Dauntless or would you go to WoW?
I at this point I think I would have to go to WoW. I'm hard addicted. I can't quit.
Man, it's probably playing WoW while I was doing this podcast, by the way.
I am. I definitely am.
That's called addiction, kids. Stay in school.
Yeah, I know you were playing like Gunfire and stuff too, like back when you were streaming. I don't know if you've been playing like stuff like that still or what, but
Empire?
Oh, you think Gunfire
Reborn?
Oh, Gunfire Reborn. Oh, I haven't played that in a long time.
Okay,
That game is super fun though.
A decent little bit of that, but
yeah, that was one of the games that was like super fun to have like chaos going on.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say, because I've played that by myself and I've played it with people, and I feel like it's always just fun to just have like crazy nonsense going on all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy nonsense with friends is always the best in my opinion.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
that just makes any game better. But like, do you think that like, as in like, now that have taken a step back from streaming, like on kind of the same topic, do you feel like you've had more diversity of games to play now? Like you're not really, do you feel like you can play more games, have a little bit more time to just try a different variety of games instead of just being like, oh, I gotta play this game for stream?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think like for one, like single player games are definitely a lot more playable now, because I just didn't want to play a single player game on stream because I like
everyone
playing with
knows that.
viewers. Yeah, so like I yeah, definitely it opens up. And then also like I also kind of forced myself to play a lot of Dauntless. Maybe even on sometimes where like I didn't really want to, but I still had a blast playing it.
I just saw the gunfire flash through Aussie's eyes. He's like, I feel you, friend. I feel you.
We've all been there.
This is a hard game to quit, man.
Stepped away from it fully. Like I was definitely cutting it back for a while, and then I was just at the point where I was like, you know what? I think I'm done for now. Maybe not done forever, but definitely done for now, and just kind of let it take.
Burnout is such an easy thing to get while streaming. You just play the same thing sometimes, and you just get tired, and just I don't want to do this right now, and you do it because your viewers expect it from you. But sometimes you need something else. You need something else to just kind of change it up a little bit. And we've talked about it in the past on Party Buff, where you watch your viewership drop if you change the category, but you need it for you. Just need to take a minute and step away to say, I can't do the same thing day in and day out over and over and over again. I know that the support's there.
I've always said fuck the viewers, play what you want to do. Play the music you want to do. If your viewers don't like it, fuck them.
That's why.
Yeah, you'll find people that will want to watch you doing whatever you want to do. And I think it's more important to be having fun on stream than it is to be playing the most optimal game for stream. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cyber spitting out
And I do
facts
think
right
like one of the reasons I stuck with Dauntless for so long was it was just a game that like I was decent at, that I was relatively knowledgeable about. So something that was easy, like people jump in, like regardless of what their questions were, I kind of felt like well equipped to answer them, right? As opposed to trying something that I have no idea what is going on, and somebody jumps in and they're like, hey, what do you think about like this and this in the game? And I'm like, I have no fucking clue, I just started yesterday. Right? Like it kind of comes across a little bit more professional when you know what you're doing, but like at the same time, I do think playing Dauntless for so long, like I just lost all passion for it. And I think that started to show. Like I remember I had a friend jump in who didn't play Dauntless, and I was like bitching about something that was busted in the game for like the third time over the course of 6 months, right? And my friend said to me, he's like, do you even like this game? And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, every time I come in here, you're just complaining about it. Is it really that broken? And I was like, shit.
Boom. Mind blown moment.
Good point.
I'm just the crotchety man who like bitches about all the broken mechanics. So then I like had to like take a step back, and I don't know. I think it definitely shows through, like if you're passionate about a game, or like if you're not passionate about a game, I think that definitely like shines through into your streaming as well, right? Like you're going to be more inclined to get excited about a game that you are actually excited about, as opposed to something that you're just bashing your head against.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah.
It is hard to find the passion sometimes for the games that we really want to love, and then we just find that we're just tired after a while. So taking a break from streaming, absolutely important. But I feel like after school, you'd want to come back maybe once a week, or are you just going to see how the cards lay out in front of you here, Cyber?
Yeah, it's pretty much playing it by ear, seeing how I'm feeling, seeing what games are available, what I want to play, what's going on.
So I did have another question. Like one of the things I was talking to somebody about recently was I wasn't really like a big Twitch guy prior to streaming. If a new game was coming out and I wanted to find out something about it, I'd go to YouTube. If there wasn't any YouTube content available yet, I would go to Twitch and like try to find somebody. And then I kept trying to find myself I kept finding myself trying to skip forward in like a video as if it were a YouTube video, because I'm like just watching it and some guy talking about his life, and I'm like, I don't give a shit about this. I just want to see the content for the game. Let's go. And like I almost found it like irritating. I almost disliked Twitch prior to starting streaming. And then, I started streaming. I've met all these people through streaming, and now it's like a regular part of my day. I'm getting up. I'm like, oh, whose streams can I lurk on? Who can I like show support for? Whatever, It's become like such an integral part of my day. So I'm curious to see, like, now that you've kind of stepped back from the actual streaming aspect of it, do you still find yourself on Twitch to like chat with people, or to as like a free time thing, or are you more or less just
it's definitely much less so than when I was, not out of like just because I'm not doing it anymore, but just because I just haven't. I don't know. Yeah. I kind of wish I did it more, honestly. I feel like it's been forever since I've talked to you guys, and I kind of regret that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love you.
I saw you in a stream the other day, and I was like, I almost messaged you on Discord like 2 days ago to make sure you weren't dead, because I just hadn't heard from you forever. I was like, man, I wonder how Cyber is.
I mean, I'm just I'm a social anxiety person, so like that's kind of just how it is. I don't think I've posted on my Twitter in like almost a year now or something like that. I don't know. So like yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of bad at that.
I feel like every time Cyber comes into my stream, everyone just goes crazy over it, because I remember he was there the other day and everyone's like, Cyber, I love you, have my babies.
Yeah, the actual Messiah.
Yeah. I mean, I like there's definitely times where like when I was streaming, like I would purposely not say anything in chat, just because like I didn't want to I guess pull the attention off the streamer to me.
That's fair,
because that would happen, and so like I would just lurk and chill. And there I know for a fact there's been multiple times where like people would like mention me not thinking I was there, and I would respond immediately.
Just like, surprise.
Yeah.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah. Was it good things or bad things?
They were always good things.
I was gonna say, I don't think anybody had anything bad to say about Cyber.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure nobody's over here like smack talking Cyber behind his back, and then it's like, surprise. I'm
If they were
here.
bad things,
I
they never
definitely
knew
feel you on
about
like
it.
the social anxiety front too. Like I am very much a lurker in other people's streams. Every now and then I'll go in and chat, but like 9 times out of 10, I'm just gonna lurk. Like just I don't know. I don't know what it is. Once I start chatting with people, like it's fine. But yeah, the whole
It's like a
initiating-
commitment, man.
Yeah, because you gotta sit there for a couple minutes, right? Responding to everybody, and then you gotta,
Yeah.
you don't want to say hi and
It's like a
immediately
commitment,
leave.
you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I always joke about it because I feel like
Okay.
most streamers are like very extroverted from what I've found. Like the majority of them, you know what I mean, are very much extroverts who enjoy talking, enjoy like kind of being a focal point. Whereas like I feel like I'm very introverted. I generally don't like people. I don't like talking. Don't really like being on camera.
And yet.
When I
And
first started
yet.
streaming, like that was a big hurdle for me. Just being on camera, like talking, thinking that like what I'm saying is actually worth people's time. Like that was a big hurdle for me. So yeah, it's I don't know. I definitely kind of feel you on that front.
I do want to
Yeah.
say the one thing though. Sorry, but go ahead. Good.
Oh, I was just going to say, it's kind of a weird feeling, kind of like, because I feel like I've kind of gone through my entire life, kind of being that introverted person, and then like going through streaming and like people actually caring about your opinions is it feels weird because I don't like it seems like throughout the rest of my life, like that's just never happened. But yeah, so
I care, Cyber.
It's an
Okay,
interesting experience.
the thing I want to touch upon was Aussie saying something about like how before he started streaming, like Twitch like was like this random wasteland of just degeneracy. You know what I mean? Like it still is, but but like I get it because I was kind of the same way. But like I want to say I wouldn't actually be here right now if it wasn't for Cyber, because Cyber was the first stream that I actually saw where I was like, holy crap, the streamer responds to your messages. Because all the streams that I watched before, people would, I used to like, Twitch was like a thing I would put on the background when I was working out or something like that, and they had like thousands of viewers and,
Right.
and at that point, like, yeah, exactly, don't read chat. So like, I remember one day stumbling upon Cyber's stream, like, through his YouTube video once. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go check this guy out. I'm asking him some questions about Dauntless. Cyber, I still remember the day when I walked into your stream, by the way. I still remember asking you how to get plus 15 weapons. I don't know if you remember that. I still remember that day very fondly. But I remember you telling me like how to get them. I'm like, oh my god, he answered my question.
He's here as a person.
yeah, it like I don't know. I guess it goes back to being like an introvert. Like I feel for the viewers, and like I would feel terrible if I was in somebody's stream and I posted a message and they didn't read my message. So like I would feel that, like secondhand. Like so like if someone posts a message, I'm going to read it, like, and respond to it. And so like I remember there would be times where like Dauntless was doing something big and like I would have just more viewers than I've ever had. Like yeah, and like sometimes chat would be literally going so fast I couldn't respond to everything. And those times I felt so bad. Like
Yeah. The worst is when you're like you're like behind on chat and then you get a big raid or something and it all just gets spammed away and you're like, oh
Yeah.
god, I hope I didn't miss anything.
yeah, and I know I would apologize a ton of times, and I'm sure some people can remember those times, but like yeah, I always felt so bad for not responding. So yeah, it was it was something I did every single time. Was I tried to make sure that I responded to people's comments.
No, it's definitely shaped the way that I became a streamer. Like I said, the reason, like, because through you, I found Aussie, and then through Aussie, I found streaming, and like, and so like, it was a chain of events. But like, if I had never found your stream in the first place, I was just saying, like, I probably wouldn't be a streamer today. It was like that, like the first domino was like Cyber. So like,
Oh, that's awesome.
Cyber.
So much love going on up here. So much love.
I'm blaming Cyber. Actually, I'm actually blaming him for making my streaming career. I hate streaming.
Oh, no, that.
So much hate love going on. So much hate love.
A shaming session.
Yeah. No, I'm just messing. But yeah.
Someone's heart must always be in the dead man's chest, man.
Yep.
You picked up the gauntlet, and so now you're forsaken.
Yep.
Your turn.
Pretty much.
Love it.
Well, I definitely appreciate you coming on board with us here, Cyber, and talking about life after streaming and what it means to be a streamer and how we move past it whenever we have to. And hopefully, for people who are streaming, you find a good balance. And if you can't prioritize well. Let me rephrase that. If you can't, semicolon, prioritize well. Not if you can't prioritize well, then nothing. No. You just need to find the things that matter to you. And like Cyber's going to school, and he took some time out of his day to come and talk with us. So that means a lot. I know that we've missed Cyber.
Hey, thank you, Cyber.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, man.
We've missed seeing you.
Good catching up a little bit too.
Yeah,
good,
absolutely.
good talking to you guys.
And you know, since you don't have viewers around, if you need people to play games with,
right?
we're around.
Have us on Discord.
Man, we're available.
Anybody got a Horde character on World of Warcraft Classic?
Always Horde,
Yeah,
man.
so-
Always.
Cyber's a WoW addict, so if any of you guys are also addicts in here, let Cyber know.
That's right. Reach out, put in the comments, say who you are, that you're part of the Horde. If you're part of the Alliance, you can just ignore this video, and then
Exactly.
you can move on with your lives. But reach out. Cyber wants more people to play with, and he's a good guy. We can vouch for him. He's a good guy to go play games with. So. It's going to be good. It's going to be good either way. But this has been your Party Buff Tasty Treat. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks again to Cyber for sticking around with us. I'm GoodRoots. That's Az, Ozzy, and CyberMessiah, and we're going to see you guys next time.
Bonus Louie.
Party Buff.